Music has always been comforting to me because any emotion you can express through music. I've played the piano or the organ all my life. I've sung in this church all my life. You could say that playing the organ is one of the things that I looked forward to doing while I was sick, because learning to walk again, I have to be able to use my feet to play the pedals. So having that as a goal through the therapy helped me make it through that. My name is Karen, and I was diagnosed with diffuse large B-cell lymphoma.
Diffuse large B-cell lymphoma is a type, one of the most common subtype of B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. In this particular entity, the lymphocytes, they become cancerous. So when they become cancerous, the channels are already established, so they can migrate and invade lymph nodes, spleen, bone marrow, or many other, we call as extranodal organs, which are outside the lymph nodes.
We knew Karen wouldn't remember either.
Karen has always been known to do the impossible physically, and does her own yard work, does her own housework, and so I thought she had overdone it when she complained to me about hurting in her lower back. And I thought, well, okay, this is probably what's wrong.
And then within a week's time, I had lost all feeling from my waist down, and I went through nerve pain in my legs.
She crawled from her sofa, through that house, down the steps, across the basement to my car. And thank the Lord I was strong enough that she could put her arms around my neck, and I could pick her up by pushing on the roof and get her bottom in the car. And that's the way I transported her to UAB. When they came out of surgery, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. The nurse, I can still see her. She came to us and she told us right there, it's lymphoma. All right, right then as a family, you make a decision. And the decision has to be to fight.
When he told me the seriousness of the lymphoma, I turned to my mom and dad and I said I just wanted to see my kids grow up.
Doctor came in and looked at Karen and sat by our bed, held her hand, and he said, "We will beat this."
And I'll never forget asking him, "Is this curable?" And he said, "Absolutely." And that's when I decided that was a battle I was going to fight. I have to learn to walk again. I have to take care of my kids. So that was how being paralyzed affected my will, I guess you should say.
So in Karen's case, when you have a tumor sitting there and pressing over either the spinal cord or the nerves, then the limbs which are supplied by that nerves will have, signs of weakness or even paralysis many times. People have difficulty in walking or they cannot walk at all.
It changes your life. The first thing that you have to think about is, well, she hasn't any feeling, so she can't turn herself. She can't readjust her weight in the bed. She can't bathe herself.
What you learn is cancer doesn't care. And I learned that going through this with Karen. Caregivers, oh me. I don't think a lot of people understand how a caregiver suffers. See, when you're daddy, and that's what I am, I'd rather me hurt than her hurt.
Everybody gave support in a different way. We're just there when we show up just to have as much fun with her as we can in the room in a difficult situation, and to just be there for her, to let her know it's going to be okay.
So the key is, when somebody is diagnosed with lymphoma, usually we are humans. We get shocked with the diagnosis of cancer, right? So that is initial shock. In that, it is always better to sit down and explain the diagnosis, go in depth.
Any question I ever had for Dr. Mehta, who never treated me like it was a silly question, and he'd always answer it and in a most gracious way. He was always like that.
Karen got first chemoimmunotherapy cycle in the hospital. After that, as she had weakness, she had to go through the physical therapy.
There were side effects. Of course, there were problems with nausea. So I couldn't wait to get out and taste real food, real Southern food that my mother had made. She loves cooking, and she's always been a fantastic Southern cook.
Karen was very lucky. Her parents are always with her, and that actually gave her a lot of strength, willpower, to look forward for something after completion of chemotherapy, right? So that is the key in outcome for any cancer.
The Auburn-Alabama rivalry is like nothing else that I really know to compare it to. And even though it's education and sports, it is as important a decision as any you will make in your life.
Yes, I am actually an Alabama fan. Roll Tide.
But I graduated from Auburn, and my kids are at Auburn. So when it came time that they wanted me to take steps, they said that if I would take 10 steps, he would say War Eagle. And then when I took those 10, which I was going to come hell or high water, he actually said, if you take another 10, I'll wear an Auburn baseball cap.
Mike, I didn't hear that. Say it. Say it.
And he had the shaker in his hand and everything. It was great.
She actually rocked 20. So saying War Eagle and wearing an Auburn t-shirt and an Auburn hat, who cares? My daughter just walked twice as much as they actually thought she could do. So, worth every bit. I'd do it again in a second.
First time ever you heard that.
It was a great day.
The lymphoma all along has led the path for wide variety of immunotherapy. They are being utilized now in, of course, a clinical trial setting in other cancers to see if it is successful in lymphomas, whether that can be used in other solid tumors or other cancers.
Karen is doing great today. She's living the life of a cancer survivor, a lymphoma survivor. She is thankful for where she is, and that is, I think, a wonderful characteristic of cancer survivors.
There's a song that we sing here, and it's an old song, and I actually, quite honestly, don't like playing it because it's a hard song to play, but the message in the hymn is so important. Count your blessings. Name them one by one.
Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done.
One story that I like to tell a lot is I remember when my daughter took me to Hobby Lobby and I saw a sign that said, there is always, always, always something to be thankful for. And I told myself that when I walked again, I was going to go buy it. And I did. And it hangs by my door today. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. So the smallest thing that you can find to be thankful for, it works. It works.